What's up, YouTube? It's Joel. Wow, there is so much happening right now. We have an update for you on those stimulus checks being sent out to Americans. We have the House of Representatives and is now back in session from their recess, and they are working on the huge reconciliation bill as well as dealing with the debt ceiling. They do have a plan to fund the government through December of this year, which we will get into. Biden's had huge talks with Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema concerning their votes on the huge $3.5 trillion mega bill, but Biden bombed in those talks. We will get into very important news concerning the stimulus packages and what's actually going to happen with those. But even with all this being said, Bernie Sanders says that the Democrats are going to come together over the reconciliation bill and they will get passed. Janet Yellen says that if we default on our debt, it would permanently weaken America. The Senate parliamentarian has ruled against adding money to the reconciliation bill to create a pathway for citizenship for millions of illegal immigrants. This is your stimulus and economic news update. And if you don't mind, could you do me a huge favor and destroy that like button for the YouTube algorithm? It really helps a lot to grow the channel and get these videos out there for more people to see. Also, please check out the latest video from this channel to see if you won $100. We still have 4 winners that have not claimed their giveaway from the last video. And please, if anyone asks you for personal info or to contact them on WhatsApp or by text, it is not me, it's fake, so please don't do it. So now that the House is back from their summer recess, there are 3 things that they are primarily focused on getting done. Number 1 is the debt ceiling. Number 2 is the reconciliation bill. And number 3 is the infrastructure bill. When it comes to the debt ceiling, Janet Yellen is urging Congress to act quickly on the debt ceiling or risk economic catastrophe. Yellen said, "We would emerge from this crisis a permanently weaker nation," noting that the U.S. creditworthiness has been a strategic advantage. With the nation spending over $5 trillion in the past year, we have exponentially increased our debt because of the pandemic, with us being right now at $28.5 trillion in debt as a nation. But the government spending expires September 30th. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that the House will move to suspend the debt rather than to raise the debt. So House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in a letter to her colleagues that she wants Congress to address the debt limit in a bipartisan way, essentially rejecting the idea of attaching it to legislation that Democrats would pass on their own pertaining to the reconciliation bill. She also said Congress is ironclad in its commitment to never letting the full faith and credit of the United States come under threat. Indeed, since 2011, every time the debt limit has needed to be raised, Congress has addressed it on a bipartisan basis, including 3 times during the last administration. When we take up the debt limit this month, we expect it to be bipartisan once more. So we are looking at suspending the debt limit. So while they figure out how to raise the debt limit in a bipartisan way, no talks of not spending more or spending less. It's all about getting what they want done is spending more. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section on that. So now we move on to the reconciliation bill. So Biden last week talked with 2 individuals that are literally standing in the gap from this huge $3.5 trillion package being passed. Well, one thing I have to say first is that there has been talks of the reconciliation bill and the infrastructure bill being tied together. So essentially, one can't pass without the other. And Pelosi has said that she will have the infrastructure bill voted by September 27th. This was a bipartisan bill, and if they pass it in the House, it heads straight to the White House for Biden to sign. So with this, Biden is talking with Sinema and Manchin to get their votes on the huge mega bill. And he bombed big time. he was not able to pull them to the Democrat side and go ahead and fast track this bill like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi want to do. But what we did come away with is that Manchin wants this reconciliation bill to be cut in a big way. So instead of $3.5 trillion, he said it needs to be around $1.5 trillion. And on top of that, Kyrsten Sinema said to Pelosi that if she breaks her word on the infrastructure bill and passing it by the 27th of September, that she is out of any reconciliation bill getting passed with her vote on it. So with this, we are stuck again between a rock and a hard place. But one thing we can clearly see is that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are controlling this situation with this package. We even have Joe Manchin, who has come out and said that he would like to see this huge mega bill paused until 2022. He said instead of rushing to spend trillions on new government programs and additional stimulus funding, Congress should hit a strategic pause on the budget reconciliation legislation. A pause is warranted because it will provide more clarity on the trajectory of the pandemic, and it would allow us to determine whether inflation is transitory or not. So with this, we see that he is not on board with passing this fast, but everyone else is. But they need his vote in order to pass this huge mega bill. He also added, I, for one, won't support a $3.5 trillion bill or anywhere near that level of additional spending without greater clarity about why Congress chooses to ignore the serious effects inflation and debt have on existing government programs. So with this, for those that are looking for stimulus checks, we basically are seeing a hold put on them. It's not a no, but it's also not a right now stimulus check. He did say, though, that we need to see how the pandemic pans out. Because if it gets worse, then the stimulus checks are definitely a go to help those in need and make sure that people are able to pay for their essential needs. But if things get better, then they won't see a need to add another stimulus check. Let me know what you think if you believe we need another one. Now, one thing that has been taken out of the cost of the $3.5 trillion bill is the billions of dollars that were going to be used for immigration reform to create a pathway for more illegal immigrants to become citizens. Well, the Senate parliamentarian, who is the committee that decides what can and can't be in the reconciliation bill, has said the immigration piece cannot be included in the bill. So that's more money that the Democrats will probably allocate to another piece of legislation that they want to get passed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. So with that, we head into the infrastructure bill, and that is only days away from when it's supposed to be passed. We will see if Nancy Pelosi holds to her word of voting on it by the 27th. Remember, this has enough bipartisan votes to pass in the House, but Speaker Pelosi has to bring it to the floor in order for them to vote on it, and she doesn't have to do that. So then we have Biden, who would then sign it if it gets passed, and then it would be done, it would become law, and it's the $1.2 trillion bill that's focused on fixing roads, bridges, internet, waterways throughout the United States, and a lot of hard, tangible infrastructure things. So right now, anything could happen, but we do have Bernie Sanders, who has come out and said that the Democrats will pass the $3.5 trillion bill despite what's been going on or what's being said. Sanders said, I expect because of the pressure of the American people, we're going to come together again and do what has to be done. So with this, he is very optimistic that there will be some moves made to allow for both these bills to pass. Now, I would say that there is a high likelihood that they will pass the reconciliation bill, but it's not going to be anywhere near 3.5 trillion, more like 1.5 trillion. The Democrats are going to have to negotiate and compromise within their own party in order to get this passed. They're going to have to negotiate with Manchin and Sinema. And Manchin and Sinema are not budging on their stances, and this cannot move forward without them. So let me know what you think. Should we do more? Should we do less? Should we spend more? Should we spend less? Should we focus on paying down the debt? One of the thoughts that I had was basically, whenever you as an individual have your finances, if you are always in the negative with your bank account, you can't do nothing. They don't allow you to do nothing. You can't buy stuff. You can't move forward. You can't go and do anything, get a car, get a house, or get nothing. You're in the negative. And yes, you may be working and making a paycheck each week, but no matter what, you're always in the negative. That's essentially where the US is at. We are in the negative big time. And there's no talks of people trying to say, let's just spend less or let's focus on paying off our bills. But this is where I feel like as a nation, we should work towards not being in the negative, because when you got money in the bank, it feels great. Whenever you got 100, 500, 1,000 bucks sitting in the bank and you don't pay all the bills and you've got everything you need, it feels great. It feels secure. I would love for America to step into that and to be able to say, we feel secure. We're not reliant on other countries. We have money in the bank. We've paid off our bills. We're in a surplus. Let me know what you think, if you agree with me or not, down in the comment section. But please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all stimulus and economic news that affects you and learn how to build some wealth. This is Joel, True Life Investing. Until next time, peace out.